y'all, welcome to my channel, Flourish Evermore, and today's video is the monthly makes for the month of June. So we are headed overseas for a meeting and a little bit of holiday. So this video is a little different in that I'm just going to show you the projects as I talk through them. Not tons of information, but hopefully enough information that you know what I have done, whose pattern I've used, what yarn I am using or have used. So we are going to get started with finished objects. So my first finished object is this pair of socks, and it is the Crazy Sock Ladies Vanilla Sock pattern. These socks I knitted for my husband. I did them on 9-inch circulars, a 2.5 millimeter 9-inch circular. I have been using DPNs to decrease the toe, but this time I purchased the circular, I think it's a 32-inch circular to do magic loop, and I actually like that better, although I still use the DPNs for the heel flap and the heel turn. And I also use a crochet hook for picking up the gusset stitches, and I have found a way of doing the Crazy Sock Lady has you pick up the bar on the gusset for your extra stitch, and I have actually found a way to pick it up because you still end up with a hole. I have found a way to pick up stitches so that there is no hole, and as you can see right there, there actually is no hole there. I did not sew it up. That is the way it came out when I picked up the gusset stitches. So I want to do a quick tutorial, but it will probably be after we get back from our trip to our conference and holiday. So that will probably be towards the end of July. The yarn that was used is Stylecraft Boho. It's on my Ravelry page. Hang on just a second and I will look that up. All right, it is Stylecraft Head Over Heels Boho, and it's in the colorway Colorado. It is a wool and nylon blend. I can't remember the percentages, but yeah, he likes them. They fit well. They almost match up. You can tell by the toe, just not quite, but they are very close. I just tried. I did not really care, I guess, that they were perfect. I like that the cuff and the leg that will be seen does match up, and being on different legs, nobody's going to look that close, but they match up well enough for the part that will be seen. So the toe doesn't bother me that much because it'll be in a shoe. And so, yeah, so that is the first finished object. So now I'm going to walk around. Hopefully you don't get too dizzy. The second finished object is the Jada in Stitches Calendar Cal, the Fair Isle style calendar crochet along. And the diamonds are the month of June, and yeah, that's what they look like. I figured bright diamonds, sparkly. I needed to use a bright yellow color. I didn't think white would look or show up that well. And so I used that yellow color. So the yarn that I used is Pure Gold by the company L here in South Africa. And this colorway is called Canary. And the background, the base color, is Irish Glen is the name of that. Still the Pure Gold by L. So those are two of my finished projects. I have one more, but it's hanging on the line, drying, and so I'm going to head that way and show you my third finished object. So this is my third finished object. It is the Cande Pullover by Nomad Stitches. You can find it on my Ravelry page under the projects, and you can also, I'm sure, search Nomad Stitches or Cande, C-A-N-D-E, Cande Pullover, to find that. This is the second one that I have made, and I am taking it on my trip to Europe. So what you're looking at is the back side. You can see the seam that goes down the back and the short rows for the back. And obviously you can tell I have not sewn in the ends. I wanted to get it washed so that I could bring it. I'm going to come around. There is the first one that I made, also hanging to dry. But this is the front side of the top. There you go. So I'm looking forward to wearing that when we go to Europe. The yarn that I used was L cotton. It's actually a 2/8 yarn, so I had to go down a hook size. I went down from a 3mm, which I did the first top in, down to a 2.5mm. I used the same hook the whole way through for the ribbing around the neck, the sleeves, and at the bottom. I just stuck with the 2.5mm. I did do a size 2, but towards the beginning, after the ribbing, I think it is, I went straight to the first lace, which is this part right here, instead of doing an extra row, because I felt like the lace came down too far, but it still comes down too far, and I will need to wear a strappy top underneath it. But I still love it. I love the design. I've said before, it reminds me of the ranunculus knitted pattern, just with all the lacy yoke, which I do want to make a ranunculus. I'm having a hard time saying that one day, but right now, really happy with this Cande top. This cotton is heavier than the first one, and I'll show you the first one is a fingering weight yarn by Skepis, or Skepis. And so it's a little bit lighter weight, but really I don't think the other will be too heavy. So hopefully they will be dry so I can put them in my suitcase very soon. So that is my third finished object. All right, now we're moving on to my works in progress. My first work in progress is this, I call it a prayer blanket. It's the design that I found for a prayer shawl, but have turned it into a blanket. Hopefully you can see the butterfly design. It is for my nieces on my husband's side. It's for her daughter. Her daughter has Rett syndrome, And then they just found out that she has leukemia and is going through treatment. So I'm making this blanket to get to her so that she knows that her great auntie is praying for her and that she can keep warm. They are in the U.S. and winter will be coming up. And so hopefully this will just help her to know she is loved and to keep her warm during the winter months. So I am using the L Pure Gold. Again, it is an amazingly soft acrylic yarn. And those are the three colors that I am using. This one is called Lily. The purple is actually called Petrol. And the pink is Blossom. And so those are the three colors. I am doing a row of the butterfly pattern, which is a 3-row repeat. And I'm doing that in the pink and the purple color. Those are her favorite colors. And then I'm doing a row of single crochet in between. It actually helps the stitch count in the corners for the first butterfly of each row and helps get that a little more centered. So I added that row of single crochet in white to break up the pink and purple, make it softer and and then help with that stitch count. So that is, I don't know the name of it, the pattern, because it was a shawl pattern. I saw a picture of a square and just copied it. And so I'm not sure who the pattern is by for this, other than I took a picture and just copied the picture. Not sure where I saw the picture, probably on Pinterest or something like that. All right, so the next 3 I am taking with me to Europe, and they are all 3 socks. So the first sock pattern I have already started, and you can see I'm working on the ribbing. It is yarn by Premier called Cotton Collage that I bought when I was in the US. It is a fingering weight, a 1-weight yarn. There are 246 yards, 225 meters in this 50-gram or 1.75 ounce ball. It is, and you can see on the label, if it focuses, there you go. It is 46% cotton, 33% superwash fine merino wool, 12% polyamide, and 9% PBT. And I love working with the yarn. So I had the sock, I'll get to that in a second. I had the sock past the heel flap and heel turn, and then I messed up on the pattern and ripped it all out because I have yet to figure out how to rip back and put it on the needles again. So I just ripped it all the way out. The nice thing is I'm making a shorty sock, so I'm going to do 15 rows of ribbing and go straight to the heel flap, and I'm going to keep it ribbed on the top and just stockinette stitch on the bottom when I do the foot. It was an idea, so it's the Crazy Sock Lady's pattern, her vanilla sock pattern. But she talked about how you could take that pattern and keep doing the ribbing on the top part of the foot. And so I thought, well, I'll try it. So these socks are for me. Why not test it out and see how that goes? And that's where I messed up. I forgot to keep doing the ribbing on the top. And so when I tried to frog it back, yeah, I couldn't get it back on the needles or figure it out. So because I'm new at knitting, so I ripped it back. But thankfully, like I said, since it is going to be a shorty sock, I didn't rip back too much. So hopefully, as I work on that when we are overseas, I will remember to keep doing the ribbing. So that's my first sock that I am taking with me. My second sock is here. So I have caked up 2 balls of yarn, and I did that by hand because I have a yarn ball winder, but it's not smooth. It's very jerky, so I'm going to have to invest in another one. I just have not done that yet. And so this sock over here on the right, I am making for my daughter. It is with Yarnable yarn. I am part of that subscription, the Yarnable subscription by Hypnotic Yarns. This colorway, oops, upside down, let's turn it around. This colorway is called the Raven, and it was put out last year. It's one of, I don't remember which month, but it was one that I got last year. It is 85% nylon, superwash merino, and 15% nylon, 100-gram skein or ball, and it is 437 yards. Not sure how many meters, but a little bit less than that in meters. So that is going to be a sock for my daughter. And then I'm making this sock, again, another one for my husband. The other sock that I showed you at the beginning is not superwashed wool, not superwash merino. It is a little rougher than this superwashed yarn from Hypnotic Yarns, and so I want to make him one with the softer yarn. So again, it is Yarnable by Hypnotic Yarns, and this colorway is called Bougie New Year. You know, all the specs are the same. So I'm taking those 2 projects in this cute little shui bag that I have, and so I will be working on 3 pair of socks for summer sock camp. That's it, by the Crazy Sock Lady. So hopefully I will get those done. I'm surely I will get them done, or at least 2 out of the 3 done by the end of August, so that I can enter those into the giveaway. So those are my works in progress. Some are not started yet, obviously. Oh, and I wanted to point out that this clip idea I got from Ella at No Catchy Name. When she winds up her balls like of scrap yarn, she uses a hair clip to keep them together. So I took that idea and ran with it, and have put clips on my yarn that I'm taking with me so that it doesn't come undone. So although I did wind it, so it should have a center pull. I think that's it down there. So anyway, but that will keep the yarn from coming undone while I'm traveling. So yeah, so those are my projects. I have a couple of things that I have made for our trip for those of you that are interested in low carb baking that I will show you now. All right, I have made a pan of rusks. Rusks are a South African, they're not really a biscuit. They're kind of like biscotti. They are dried. It's like a muffin or a scone mix that has been dried and cut into these rectangle shapes so that you can dip them in your tea or coffee. usually eaten for breakfast, but sometimes just for tea time as well. So I'm taking those with us to kind of we usually eat them at breakfast or while we're having our quiet time with a cup of coffee before we go for a walk or before we go for brunch, and it just kind of ties you over and is a little bit of a sweet snack. I do have a video where I have done the recipe, but the recipe is by I think she's got an Instagram account called, and her cookbook is called Low Carb is Lekker, and her name is Reynierse in Afrikaans, but Low Carb is Lekker, Lekker. I will obviously put a link in the description box below to her book, but you can also follow her on Instagram as well. So I did change this recipe just a little bit in that I added a flax seed and dried fruit mix, or sometimes I will add cranberries if I have them, because we do like a little bit of dried fruit in our rusks. The other thing I changed from the video that I will put a link to is I added, instead of oil, a 1/4 cup of oil, I did a 1/4 cup of melted butter. Because when you make scones, muffins, it's butter in the mix. So it just gave it a richness to it. So that I did change from the video. All right. The other thing I made that I do have a video on is these double chocolate chip biscuits. They're actually flourless, and you can find them on the website Love, Peace, and Low Carb. Again, I will link that below, and the video that I have where I made these. They are delicious. They're made with almond butter. We use xylitol and cocoa powder, the peanut butter powder, and of course the chocolate chips in there. So they're really good. They're flourless, so they work even if you have a gluten allergy. The last thing I made, which I will put a video up soon, which I realize I haven't, is a low carb granola. This is another recipe that I found that I will put a link up to that recipe, but it is delicious and it is great. I put it on yogurt, but it's even great to just eat warm with a bowl of milk, or even cold with a bowl of milk, or sprinkle it on ice cream, anything like that. So it's really good, and I plan on doing a video to show how I make this recipe, this low carb granola. So I'll put a link to everything in the description box below, but I really appreciate you joining me for this month, the month of June, monthly makes. Y'all have a wonderful day, and we will see you soon. Bye-bye, y'all.